Let's go for a ride. I'll explain a little bit more. What's happening, guys? Today we're focusing on the Megelli 250R. I wanted to do a fuel efficiency test today, and that's exactly what we did. I started the test on 9,880 Ks, and we've just about finished the test right around 10,000 Ks. So she's done a little bit of mileage since. We only put about 8.5 liters in her. So let's go for a ride. I'm going to talk more about it. Plenty of power to get around, especially for the city. So I did about 120 kilometers on the 8 liters that I put in. What I did was, yesterday when my fuel light flashed again, I refueled, and then I started doing a little bit of maths. So she's really not bad on fuel. If you're doing that sort of efficiency of about 8.5 liters per 120 odd Ks, she worked out to be about 6.5 liters per 100. A real world scenario. Now just bear in mind that when I'm riding this bike real world, I'm not focusing on fuel efficiency, I'm focusing on the ride. I want to make sure I'm getting from A to B quick enough, away from cars, be able to pull cars at the lights, that sort of thing. And that's exactly what this bike is doing. So I'm very impressed with it on that front. No worries. She's got the power and she'll use it. So I'm pretty impressed with that fuel efficiency. It's something that you can expect from about a 250, where you can push them pretty hard and they're still going to be pretty darn efficient, but still able to do the speed limits of all these main roads and all of that sort of stuff, which is just fantastic. This video is a little bit of a sad one. I'm going to be saying goodbye to the Megelli soon. I've covered a good bit of footage on it, and I think I've reached the point where the Megelli's hundreds, I'm happy with it, and it's time for a new home. The one thing I will say that I found quite disappointing about this bike, and it's not going to be for everyone, but the mirrors are quite narrow. So for me to look in the rearview mirror, I need to go away from my riding position, tuck an elbow and look, and that's not the safest thing. So it's definitely for someone with slightly narrower shoulders. And you know what, I know quite a few riders that don't even use their rearview mirrors. Hey! She's got that go if you want her to go. The other thing that's worth mentioning is, for a good portion of that ride, I was revving it all the way up. Just to open the motor up, I wanted to make sure she was mechanically sound. So that won't help fuel efficiency either, especially considering this motor, now that I'm riding it more often, this motor is quite torquey, and yes, while she will rev higher, chances are you'll actually be quicker just sticking to your sort of, you know, your 80s, 90s and your lower rev range while you're getting there. So rather than revving all the way up to 10,000 in every gear, you're more than likely quicker revving to 6,000 in every gear and just letting the torque of the motor do what it needs to do. I've actually come on this road particularly because there's a nice uphill over there. So we'll just cruise down this downhill now, and I just want to show you guys the torque of this motor. It's quite a torquey little thing. You don't have to wide open throttle it to ride. You can literally just you know, keep your throttle nice and steady and she'll cruise up. We'll see if we'll have to drop a gear on my KDX. I need to drop a gear over here, but that just comes with the territory. You know, smaller CC bikes, sometimes you need to use the gears a little bit more. Okay, no one's sitting on the back of me here. Okay, we got the sign that gives us the go ahead. So I'm not shifting down just yet. I'm just holding that throttle steady, which was steady from the downhill. I mean, what more can you want than that? That's fantastic. It held that hill no problem. I was actually looking for another gear there. I almost thought we were revving a little bit too high. Then I checked the speed. It's revving just right for its speed. So yesterday I was fiddling around with the bike, just seeing what quirks it had so that I could see if there was a solution to the quirk. And something that the previous owner complained about to me a few years back, actually, when I was on my CBR, he was on this Megelli, and he said it was always quite difficult to get into neutral. And yes, definitely, if you're sitting stationary in gear, she is quite difficult to get into neutral when the engine's on. So this is something I figured out. If you do want to, you know, just be able to quickly get into neutral, I found just switch the engine off, click it up like you normally do on every other bike, and you're just fine. The other thing you can do is do it before you come to a stop. So rather than waiting to get stationary, you quickly flick it out, and yeah. So here's a good example. So we're gonna come up to a stop now, pop her in neutral, she's already there, no problem, sorted. Alright. Okay, final thoughts and summary. So would I recommend this bike? Absolutely. There's definitely a bike for everyone, and I think this is very important. It really does depend on where you ride, how you ride, that determines what bike you need. You know, if you're sticking to roads that, you know, do about 80 k's an hour, 100 k's an hour, you know, no highway stuff, a 250 is fantastic. Got plenty power to get you around the city. You've obviously got a little bit of fun under you. You know, you can definitely pull and overtake if need be. Let's go for one. Thank you. I mean, that's no problem. So overtaking, no problem. Pulling people at the robots, no problem. So overall, if you're happy with the power of a 250, I would recommend this bike. Obviously you got to remember that parts are going to be a little bit harder to get access to on these Megellis. Seems world round. I've had quite a few comments of guys asking where they can get parts, and yeah, I think you're just gonna have to call around. I mean, Bikers Warehouse does it locally here for us. When I needed parts for her, I managed to get. So chances are you've now picked the bike up for a good deal. You know, let's say something breaks on the carb or something and you can't get parts, chances are you can get a Chinese carb that will fit right in for a pretty reasonable price. So you just got to keep that in mind. You might not be able to get specific spares to repair something, but you might be able to get the whole part for a reasonable price that you can just replace the whole thing, which is brilliant anyway. So overall, as a beginner bike, as a commuter, I definitely recommend. It's been extremely reliable to me. I have had to adjust valves, but these are things that need to be done pretty commonly anyway. It's not something that you're never doing. This is any bike, when it gets to certain mileage, you're gonna have to do certain things to it. So glad that I've done what it needs. I mean, I've been enjoying it. The owner that I sold it to in the interim while he was waiting for a company car, he enjoyed it. So I think that speaks a lot. There's a lot of people that run these little Megellis down, and I don't think it's necessary. I do still have the cone filter on this bike, and as you can hear, that exhaust sounds fantastic. I really do like how the air filter sounds with the stock exhaust. Don't have to modify exhausts here. I also did have someone reach out to me where they wanted to adjust the forks and potentially put a dampener on the steering. Now, fork adjustment, I'm not sure if that's possible. I'm not sure what the internals of these forks look like, but in terms of dampening, unless you're catching speed wobbles where you're shaking around like this, you know, even there, yeah, there I can get it to speed wobble, but unless you're catching speed wobbles, I personally wouldn't put a dampener on. I mean, I was just doing about 100 there, and yeah, she's pretty stable as she sits. I don't have to get into any crazy tucks or anything to get some speed up. It's just a matter of twisting some throttle and enjoying it. Oh, nothing like a nice long corner on a bike. That's one of my favorites, especially if you can get a little bit of a lean on. Ooh, a lean on and the party's on. And you can obviously do clutchless shifting if you play with your throttle. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's been watching these videos. The Megelli playlist in particular has been a great success. I've really enjoyed working on this bike. And if you do still have any questions, pop them in the comments, send me an Instagram. I'm always willing to try help. I do have quite a bit of documented footage on this bike, so it's not that everything I've posted is everything I have. So sometimes I can scroll through and just see if I can help you out. For example, someone reached out to me, they're not sure where the pipes go in the carbs, stuff like that I can always help out with. Even if I can't particularly remember myself, there's always a possibility of me having a video or me just checking through and helping you out on that way. So you can still drop all your comments and I'll definitely get back to them. Oh yeah, that Megelli knows how to put the power down, mate. So this is the sort of final call. If you want to see something on the Megelli, drop a message in the comments. If I've still got the bike, I'll try get to that video, try get it done. Other than that, peace out, guys.